Hey guys, this is Dylan from Team Chaotic Duties. Today I'm going to show you my Shadow Dragon deck list. It's a deck that I've been enjoying a lot recently, just because it's a really memey deck, but it's also really strong. Start off with spells first. I want 4 of Dragon Scale. Basically nullifies destruction of a monster in my center. So when I have the size 3s, or even if I have a size 0, I still nullify the destruction, which is great. It's my main nullifier for the deck. Next, I want Machining Sacrifice at 2. On my opponent's turn, I can cast it, put a monster from field to the drop zone, call a size 3 by paying its call cost. Mainly, I use it for if I have the size 3 with 9 or 10 soul, I guess I should say. When it's at 0 soul, I kill it, take the lifelink, then I can call another version of it, and I gain all the soul again, so I have another wall that they have to get through. Next is Drago Trap. I want it at 2. Pay a gauge and 2 life. Monster on my opponent's field can't attack for this turn. I'm not really worried about the 2 life because I have a wall in my center, so I'm more willing to spend life, but also because this deck has some good life gain with the impact. Next is Sorcery Barrier Device. I want this at 2. It's a set spell. Basically, it reduces all effect damage by 1. So if it would reduce lifelink by 1, penetrate by 1, stuff like that. But if I have 2 of them set, it reduces it by 2. So I'm taking very minimal lifelink, but also monsters that have like penetrate, 2 critical and stuff like that, I have nothing to worry about because I won't take any damage from it. But it also says all cards on my field can't be nullified by my opponent's cards effects. So my monster, the set spell, my item, everything, its abilities won't be nullified. So if I don't have to worry about like King Slime or Stars or anything like that nullifies Soul Guard and nullifies their abilities. So I can still deal that heavy output damage while still having my wall to protect me. Next is Drago Succeed, just a normal counter spell. Choose a monster on my field and destroy it, gain 2 life, and then gain gauge equal to size. You mainly use it with size 3, so you gain 2 gauge and 3 life. And you use it when I would have like 1 soul left on one of the size 3s. I would counter destroy, gain 2 life, gain 3 gauge, then call another size 3 over it. And it basically helps with that lifelink, but also with the cost, so it doesn't really hurt me that bad. Next is Dragonic Shadow Gauge. Put up to 5 Shadow Dragons for my deck to my drop zone. And then you gain 3 gauge. What I like to do is I like putting 1 of each size 3 for Machining Sacrifice. Then the rest is just size 0s because I have a bunch of size 0s to spare. But it's also not once per turn. So after you get 1 of each and drop, you can actually just cast it again and keep casting as much as you want. And then you can just start using size 0s. Size 1 and size 2s are good options because they're basically in there just so you have more Shadow Dragons in the drop zone. You usually just want to go straight to the size 3s and skip these 2. Next is the impact. You remove soul from a Shadow Dragon, and you can destroy cards on your opponent's field, and then you gain life and deal damage equal to cards destroyed. Quick ruling thing that a lot of people have questions on and stuff like that. It doesn't work with like monsters like Soul Guard and stuff like that. It's on a continuous effect like Asmodai or like Champion Master Asmodai. So if I were to destroy like a Jaeger, for example, it would revive your Soul Guard and I won't be able to destroy the soul again. So that's a quick ruling tip for you there. I still want to have 4 though because it's nice life gain plus burn. That's still a good card. Next is going to be the item. It can attack through my center. When a Shadow Dragon monster enters my field from my hand, I gain a gauge. That ability isn't once per turn. And also the soul can't be removed. The soul of my Shadow Dragons can't be removed by my opponent's card's effects. So I don't have to worry about soul removal there either. The only way to get through them is just attacking them a bunch. Next is monsters, size 0 Shadow Dragon. I want him at 15 because his ability says you can run as many as you want. I want him at 15 because I don't want to break and only pull size 0s. But it also just seems like a really magical number. Because I always get him in hand if I want a first turn Dragonic Shadow Gauge, call him, then call a size 3 and deal like 8 damage on the first turn. But it's also not like I barely see him. I get him a perfect amount, so this is what works for me. But I do see some people wanting him at like 16, 17, 18, around there. So if you want to mix it up a little bit, want more of him, you guys can go ahead and do that. Next is the size 1. Soul Guard Lifelink 1. Puts 2 from drop, 1 from field, and basically increases the power by 1000 for each soul it has to all Shadow Dragon. That counts the size 0 and the item. So if you have him in the center, 2 size 0s in the item, they all get the buff. That's how it is with all of these. It says all Shadow Dragon on your field. That's how you can get a size 0 with like 31,000 power or 8 critical, and your item can also get 8 critical. The next is going to be the size 2. He has Penetrate, Soul Guard, Lifelink 2. He puts 5 from drop zone, and he gets 1 from the field. All of them also do that. They get 1 from field and then X amount from drop. And basically, his ability also increases power, but instead of increasing it by 1000, it increases it by 3000. And he's another 4 just because so I have more in drop zone with Gigantic Shadow Gauge and stuff like that. So I just don't have to waste all the size 3s and size 0s and stuff like that. Next, this is probably my favorite one, is the Overshadow Dragon. He has Soul Guard and Lifelink 3, and he costs 4 gauge and 1 Shadow Dragon from field and 6 from drop. All Shadow Dragon in my field get 1000 power and 1 critical to each soul. So it would have 7 soul, so that's everybody gets plus 7 critical. So you can have him have 8 crit, 2 size 0s that both have 8 crit, and your item that has 8 crit. So you can deal 32 damage, and then that basically kills them. But if there's a combo where you can call the size 0, cast Gigantic Shadow Gauge, then call Overshadow Dragon, and do 8 critical on first turn. And then if you have the impact, when they call 2 monsters, equipped an item, a monster, whatever, counter, discard 2 soul, destroy 2 cards, deal 2 damage. Quick way to deal 10 damage. Next is going to be the Lord of Shadow Dragons. He's more of the wall. He has Penetrate, Double Attack, Soul Guard, Lifelink 3, and it's put 9 from drop and 1 from field, and it gets plus 3000 for each soul, and that goes to all Shadow Dragons. So you can get plus 30,000 power to all monsters in the field, but he also has 10 soul, so he's a really big wall that they need to get over, just because it's 10 attacks, and not all decks can do that, but currently the meta decks can keep up with it, with like Thunder Empire Fang, Chaos, and all that stuff. So it's still gonna be not like overpowered wall, but it's more of if they can handle all those attacks. That's also why I want Drago Chop to stop all those attacks, and also Machine Sacrifice, so they do 9 attacks. On the 10th one, I destroy it myself and call another copy of it back, so I get another 10 soul, so I can kind of survive that turn. Yeah. So this is basically my Shadow Dragon deck list. If you can tell, it's a pretty memey deck. It's kind of just 4s of all the Shadow Dragons, 15 of the baby, and it just focuses on, mainly it tries to rush, and then it just goes defensively. So the way I play it is I try and rush and get him out as fast as I can, and then 8 crit to the face. Then next turn, as he's being killed, I call Lord of Shadows to be more defensively, so I have more soul. Because Lord of Shadows also has Penetrate and Double Attack, so it's kind of just like, hey, I'm a wall, but I also kind of hurt when I punch you. Yeah, that's a pretty bad metaphor. I wanted to save the buddy for last because it's going to be changing. Right now it's size 0 Shadow Dragon, just because he's adorable. But it's going to be Overshadow Dragon when the next set comes out, because buddy option, it can give your buddy monster 5000 power and Penetrate. So I can have him in center, and even if I'm fighting a wall deck, I increase his power even more. And I also give him Penetrate, so it's 8 critical Penetrate, so his attacks are a lot more important, and your opponent's going to want to nullify them. And then you still have all these other cards, like the size 0s and the items, that still gain the 1000 power for each soul and the critical, so they're also doing pretty heavy hits. I hope you guys really like this deck list. I know I enjoy it. I'll be in the comment section if you guys have any questions or anything like that. I'll be there. And hope to see you guys next time. This has been Dylan from Team Chaotic Deities.